Hello, I'm Liz Van Vliet, and welcome to the Assist with Impact podcast. Join me as I explore the competencies and capabilities that allow you to assist with impact. I'll be sharing practical tips, strategies, and insights that will help you move beyond what I call the order taker zone and be that little hinge that can swing big doors. If you're ready to be more proactive and have more impact in your role, then this is the place for you. Let's get started with the episode. Well, hello, lovely listeners. Welcome to episode 156 of the Assist with Impact podcast, formerly the Being Indispensable podcast. It's great to be back. I have had a little break between episode 155 and 156. I hope you don't mind. I want to start also by welcoming any new listeners that I have. I know that there are some new listeners, or I definitely know there are some new listeners as a result of some training activities that I have been engaged in. So welcome. It's so good to have you here. I am bringing you a series of 3 episodes. This will be the first of 3 episodes focusing on upping your effectiveness in the area of email management and inbox management. I feel that this is a topic that I have not spent a lot of time on in the past, but in the training that I've been doing recently, shout out to all of the lovely EAs that I did training for over a series of 4 webinars for the hatchery just recently here via, well, it was online, it was virtual. But one of the things that we touched on in the final webinar was email effectiveness. And that really was something that people really appreciated. So I wanted to share a few of the tips that I shared in that training. So this is the first of these this little mini series in the area of email hacks. And the first one that I want to share with you today is in the area of subject lines. Now, I know that there are lots of different views on subject lines, and some people prefer to be more relaxed in terms of the communication that they have with their manager, and I respect that. This approach is an approach that, as I said, these episodes are all about boosting your effectiveness, upping your effectiveness, and this particular hack is around the way you structure your subject line. So let me just get my notes up so that I can share with you what I want to share. Where are my notes? Here they are. Okay, so this is a way of effectively communicating the action that you want or the action that you expect from the recipient. So let's talk about it through the lens of this being something that you're going to do as a trial with your exec, with your manager. And then, it might be something that you want to roll out to the broader team. But it's going to be a process. Like everything, there's a process. So the way it works is it's effectively cueing the person that's receiving the email. And what you're doing, the reason it's effectiveness is because you are saving them time and mental energy as they scan their inbox. So if we're talking about you elevating your impact and assisting with impact and being more effective, this is something you can do to increase your effectiveness in terms of the way you're perceived by your manager. So it's a simple approach that uses square brackets. So distinction here, we're talking about using brackets. We're talking about using square brackets, the type that are on your keyboard everyone has them, and we're using these square brackets to show an abbreviated action or an abbreviated keyword. The reason we use square brackets is because they stand out visually and they draw the eye. And so when somebody is scanning their inbox, they're going to see this consistently as square brackets means keyword. So square brackets contains keywords. So it's pretty clear already. I'm sure you're sitting there listening to this thinking, okay, how do I go about doing this? Well, it's going to involve you sitting down with your exec or with your managers and having a conversation around implementing this approach. You're going to be being proactive. You're going to be discussing with them what abbreviations make sense. What are the sorts of emails that you are forwarding on to them, that you are sending through to them? So let's give some examples of what I'm talking about when we're talking about the keywords or the cues. So I'm going to run through a few. So we've got FYIO, for your info only. Pretty straightforward. SR, signature required. DR, decision required. MR, meeting request. REQ, request. RO, read only. AR, approval required. NRN, no reply necessary. RB, required by. Now, you can make these as specific for your exec as they need to be. This is part of you having a multi-directional dialogue with your exec, with the person or people that you're supporting. You can also extend this code to incorporate the date and the time that the action is required. If this is using a code, one of the codes that relates to an action. So you would put that date and time after the abbreviated code. So if you're using AR, for example, as action required, you would have your square bracket, AR, followed by the date and the time. And then you might then close brackets and put some other words in your subject line to denote the topic, the particular thing that this email relates to. But the point is you're using this shorthand method for communicating clearly and concisely what is going on in the email that you are forwarding on. So the great thing about this approach is that it is going to boost your strategic thinking, which is something else that I want you to be able to do to increase and improve your big picture thinking, because it's going to require you to think about the action, what the cue is that you're incorporating in your subject line for that particular email. And it's going to give you the opportunity to think about what if. So what are the consequences of the action that you're requesting, or that you're, the content of that email, the output from that email? You're going to be thinking one step ahead of your exec in the process by just this simple step of using these open brackets. You're going to be demonstrating to them that you are being proactive, that you are helping them manage their time and their energy. And it is an approach that I do see people using. And it is, even if you think, okay, this shorthand, I'm not sure I can get around, Liz, but putting the key word, the cue word in your subject line. Anyway, something for you to think about in terms of the way you are structuring your subject lines. So there you have it. that is my first very short, very sweet episode on the first of 3, these simple hacks that you can consider adopting that are going to up your effectiveness in terms of the communication you have with your exec via email. And I can guarantee you that even just having this conversation with your exec, hey, I heard about this approach, what are your thoughts on it, is going to open up a conversation that is going to demonstrate to them that you are thinking proactively about how you can assist with impact. So that's what I wanted to share with you in this one, and come back for the next 2 episodes where I'll be sharing my tip number 2 and tip number 3. In the meantime, stay well and all the best for the rest of the week, wherever you are. Thanks for listening to today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see the show notes, head over to my website. It would be great if you haven't already done so. If you enjoyed the show, if you could kindly go to iTunes and leave a review. It helps other people find the show. Thanks for listening and have a great week.